We are Ham Radio. Welcome back, everybody. It's Freddie Mac, your Ham Radio Crusader, and I'm back with another video. Today we're talking about the Yaesu FTM-500, and we're going to do a firmware upgrade. Yes, there's a second firmware upgrade out on the Yaesu FTM-500 now, as well as their programming software. But today we're going to do the firmware upgrade so that everybody can get theirs done and get up to speed. So let's pop over to the Yaesu website, to yaesu.com, and go to Products Digital. And the FTM-500 is almost always in front. You can click on FTM-500 here. And then come down here to Files, the Files tab. And we're going to go all the way to the bottom where it says Amateur Radio Software. Now you want to be careful here to look at the dates because there's already been one firmware upgrade that came out for the FTM-500. It's FTM-500 USA Firmware Update 2023 11.zip. So it came out in November of 2023. So we're going to click on that and download it. And the download's complete, and I can go in here and look at it right in the downloads folder. It came in a zip file, so I'm going to extract that all out into a folder and take a look at all of it in its glorious wonder. Okay, inside the zip file archive, we have an SFL file, we have a PDF file, another SFL. Actually, all the rest of them are SFLs. This is different variations of the firmware upgrade. So let's look at the PDF real quick, shall we? FTM-500DR Firmware Upgrade Manual. This will basically tell us how to do it. Now, I'm going to preface this with saying, read the entire document. There's information in here that you may or may not need to know, but you need it all so that you don't make any mistakes, brick your radio. You don't want to do that. All responsibility in using this firmware lies with the customer. We cannot be held responsible in any way for damages or losses which may be incurred by the customer as a result of using this firmware. There's copyrights, revision, downloaded files are for personal use only. If assistance is needed to perform the firmware upgrade, please consult with one of our sales sites or service centers. The transceiver settings must be reset immediately after updating the firmware. Resetting the transceiver will clear all memories and the setting data in the setting menu. So back up your data first. Before updating the firmware, it is recommended to back up the memory data saved in the memory channels and the setting data of the setting menu. And number one is press and hold the function knob. Rotate the function knob to select 107 backup. That's menu number 107. That's labeled backup. Then press the function knob. Number 3, make sure that Write to SD is highlighted and press the function knob. 4, make sure that All is highlighted and press the function knob. Confirmation screen is displayed. Number 5, rotate the function knob to select OK, then press the function knob. You sure about the function knob? Refer to 107 backup described in the advanced manual for backup process. Regarding the firmware, how to confirm the firmware version, these instructions are in here as well. And first you want to SD card preparation. Format, initialize the SD card in advance with the FTM-500DR transceiver. Mine is already done so. This is the SD card that just came out of my FTM-500. I have a backup on it, but I'm going to back it up again. It may not be recognized by the FTM-500, or reading or writing may take an unusually long time. Use of the SD memory card formatter provided by the SD Association may improve this. The SD memory card formatter can be downloaded from this URL, and there's the instructions for formatting a new card. Mine is already formatted. Download the firmware, download the FTM-500D firmware, compressed file. Unzip the downloaded file. Using a PC with Windows OS, right-click on the downloaded.zip and extract all contents. The firmware file extension is SFL. There's 3 firmware files in that zip file. Firmware file name should be FTM-500D underscore main, FTM-500D underscore sub, and a C4FM-DSP underscore VYYY. The X's refer to destination version, so it's a variable. Copy the firmware to an SD card that has been previously formatted in the FTM-500DR. Copy the file directly under the FTM-500D folder. Do not copy it into any other folder. So let's see there. Okay, so let's bring mine up. Put it into the SD card reader and then into the USB. Now, as you can see, I have an FTM-500D folder, as do they. And if you open it, there is a backup and a GPS log, and this is where the firmware update will go. I have these others in here from July because we had a firmware upgrade in July. Fixed that old DTMF issue now, didn't it? Thank you, Yaesu. So let's navigate from, this is my downloads folder. We're going to grab these 3 files because they're the firmware upgrades, and I'm going to copy them. Now I'm going to go over to my FTM-500 SD card, into that same folder, FTM-500D, and I'm going to delete the previous firmware upgrade files. And then I'm going to paste in the new ones. Okay, let's see what the instructions say now. Copy the firmware files to this location, which is what we did. How to update the firmware. Turn the transceiver off. Insert the micro SD card written with the firmware into the SD card slot. It's on the the left-hand side of the control head. Press and hold the display key and the power key to turn the transceiver on. Now, the display key is right on the very top, right next to the power key. The firmware update screen will be displayed. Press the dial knob, which is the big VFO. Press the dial knob. The firmware versions of the microSD memory card are displayed, as you can see here. A white spot indicates firmware to be updated. A black spot is firmware that the update is not necessary. Number 5, rotate the dial knob to select update, and then press the dial knob, which is right there, and then press the dial knob. Press the dial knob to update the firmware. Caution, do not remove the SD card or turn the transceiver off while updating, unless you want a nice paperweight. If the update is interrupted, the transceiver will not operate properly. When the update is completed screen will be displayed. Press the dial knob, the transceiver will automatically turn off. Reset the transceiver, see below. So once the firmware upgrade is done, the radio will reboot. But then you've got to reset the radio back to factory standards. It's a factory reset so that all this firmware update can actually take effect. So to reset your transceiver, you're going to turn the transceiver on. Press and hold the function knob, upper right hand, small knob. The setup menu will be displayed. Rotate the function knob to select 127, factory reset. It's menu number 127. Rotate the sub-dial knob to select menu items in fast forward. The button, the round knob underneath the function knob, will help you go pages instead of one line at a time. So it'll get you to your destination faster. Press the function knob. Factory reset appears on the LCD. Rotate the function knob to select OK. Press the function knob to reset all. After resetting all defaults, the call sign input screen will be displayed. Input your station call sign. So it's basically like you pulled it brand new out of the box. You got to put your call sign in after you turn it on. And then we can do a backup of our saved memory. So let's get our SD card out of this machine safely. And now it's ready. So now we're going to go out to the truck and update some firmware. And we'll be back. Okay, here we are in the Crusader Cruiser. And this is my FTM-500, and as you can see in the side slot here, there's no SD card because it's right here. So, this is the SD card that we just put the new firmware on. So So with the radio powered off, we're going to put that back in, and it does that old push-pull snap-in. So if you push it, pops out, and you push it again, snaps in. Just FYI. So before we do the firmware upgrade, we're going to power it on. We're going to hit that push and hold the function knob. And we're going to go to 107 backup. Press the function knob. We're going to write to the SD all. Click it over to OK. And let it make a fresh backup. And it's completed. And so we can back out of that and power off the radio. Now, I just noticed something. I noticed I have APRS turned on. And just for giggles and my own peace of mind, I'm going to turn APRS off. Power off the radio. I have to hold it this way and this way. All right, and we've got the firmware update screen. So hit update and update. All right, and completed. So we're going to hit this knob again. Radio should go off. If I'm not mistaken, we have to turn it back on, but I'm going to check. Yes, we have to turn it. We have to turn it back on and do the factory reset. Press and hold. We're going to go down to menu 127. Factory reset. Doesn't take long to wipe your memory away. When it comes back on, you've got to enter your call sign again. Come on with that QWERTY keyboard, y'all. QWERTY keyboard, y'all. This is the part that always stumps me, but I've only done it 3 times, or this will be the 3rd time. Now, let's go pull our backup in. Scroll all the way down. SD card, backup. Read from SD card, all. It's 500D, so okay. And it's completed. Should reboot. And there's my APRS information back in there again, and my memory channels. Hallelujah. So one of the mini upgrades was to allow independent operation of the volume with AES turned on. So let's see if we can find that and test that theory. Yeah, if you set it to flat, you get both of them. Oh, wait a minute. That's not volume. This is volume. That's the part that always gets me. And you get independent volumes between the two, where before they would move in unison. So, all right, firmware upgrade is done. More videos to come.